So, and let's just maybe go to your report on the cost of energy, because you had an experience there of what it's a little bit more what it's like to be the politician. You get asked to do something, you prepare a report, you publish the report. Lots of people say they like this bit, don't like this bit. Quite a lot of people, attacked it fairly aggressively. And then I got the feeling the government just thought, oh, this is a bit difficult, let's park it. So let me ask you your experience for those of our listeners who are here for the politics of this. What did that teach you about the interaction between the role of advisor and expert and the role of government?
Okay, so a lot, right, is the answer to that question. Here's a question. I will try to give what I think the right answer is to that question, and I will say what you need to do, what the recommendations are to achieve that outcome, knowing full well that the result would be that those who would be losers from the report would be virulently hostile to the outcome, and they would come in fiercely and try to knock the main conclusions out. The consequence of what I call, and forgive me for this, but the happy clappy approach to this is to say that when it turns out that people realize what the world is, as opposed to what they've been told, they trust the politicians even less. And you get these kinds of backlashes at the moment, which I think are incredibly dangerous for our climate and incredibly dangerous for a natural environment. That's why I come back to being realistic.
Come in on this, Alastair, because I think you're onto something really interesting for a politics podcast.
But I think this is, lethally dangerous, the whole thing. I completely understand and agree with you that the populists are exploiting this, because the populists exploit whatever they can to promote their own kind of whatever it is that they're promoting, left or right. And, I think you mentioned the economic impact of going over 2 degrees, and the Office of Budget Responsibility, one of the lesser commented upon aspects of their recent reports was actually that this could lead to, catastrophic economic impact if we don't get on top of this.
Tell us a little bit about what you make of Labour. What do you make of Rachel Reeves? What do you make of Keir Starmer? What do you make of what they're up to?
So, I don't directly lobby the politicians, because I think that I was writing for The Guardian, and I switched to doing the YouTube because I thought that the fact that I look how I do and sound how I do will make the working class want to listen to me. But that same thing is a disadvantage when I talk to economists, when I talk to academics, when I talk to politicians, when I talk to be honest, a lot of the media until it's becoming popular. So I don't lobby them directly, but I work with people who do.
Let's get for a second on that. We'll get to Starmer in a second. What is it that you think is the disadvantage? I mean, as you say, you've studied economics. So why do you think is it that you're choosing to present yourself in a certain way? Given that you know how to change codes, right?
Yeah.
Presumably you could quite easily remember what you did.
I remember when I was a kid.
LSE
I remember when I was a kid, somebody saying to me, if you want to be successful, you've got to change how you talk. And I remember what I said to him. I said, if I have to change how I talk, there's no point being successful. I know there's a deeply entrenched prejudice in this country that people who sound posh are smart and people who sound working class are stupid.
No.
Don't think it's about a posh thing.
The reality of politics.
My honest response is that it feels like you're getting a party political broadcast. You've taken on the tone of somebody who's like addressing millions of people and whipping them up.
That's part of politics.
And my guess is if you wanted to engage with politicians, you could. I don't think you need to conclude that the reason...
100%.
I don't think the reason people aren't listening to you is that you've got an East End accent for a moment, right? These people come from backgrounds, most of them poorer than yours. They grew up in families poorer than yours, most of the Labour cabinet.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be impressed or worried by your accent, and I think you're overplaying that. I think your class anger is not letting you see some of the realities of politics. I think what's more likely to be a problem is they don't appreciate being patronised, because they also feel they've done economics degrees, they've studied this stuff quite seriously, and you're talking to them like they're idiots. You're saying, I can tell you what's going to happen in 5 years. This is the way the world is.
This is a good point,
I
actually.
did economics. I'm smart at maths.